This is Datila with Rangers of Wrestling being the Wrestling Time post show. And for tonight, I will be reviewing Monday Night Raw. Alright, so Monday Night Raw tonight kicked off with a Seth frickin' Rollins in ring promo. And he, just like old times, he welcomed everybody to Monday Night Rollins. And he said, he asked if people believe in karma. You know, that's when good things happen to good people and bad things happen to bad people. He's just talking about how he beat Matt Riddle and stomped on him twice, and how he's living rent free in Matt Riddle's head because Riddle requested a rematch. But Seth goes on to say he's not interested in a rematch. And Matt Riddle interrupts him, and he comes after Seth. And they take the fight to the crowd. Now then Judgment Day shows up. And I really, really like when Finn Balor says, I know the laws are a little relaxed here and your head must be cloudy. So that was a really cool, really funny line. But they're basically what Judgment Day is trying to do is they're trying to talk Riddle into joining them. And then I don't even want to see another rematch with Rollins and Riddle. Yeah, I mean Rollins won fair and square, and the match should have. I don't know. I feel like we're gonna get a rematch though, whether people want to see it or not. We're gonna get a rematch. Now Damian Priest starts to say that how they go way back, and Riddle says that they do go back, but his answer is no because he's just focused on Rollins. So then this leads into Finn Balor versus Matt Riddle, which actually was not a bad match. It wasn't a bad match. I actually enjoyed it. Of course, Damian Priest would be on the outside trying to cause a distraction. And this allows Finn Balor to defeat Matt Riddle. And then, of course, to add insult to injury, Seth Rollins comes out and he stomps on Riddle. And then tells him to move on. So, we probably are gonna get a rematch. Like I said, probably gonna get a rematch. Then we get a Damage Control promo. And he says that Bayley says that this match didn't even happen because and Aliyah acts like she's never been in a tag match, pinning the illegal competitor. So yeah, it's a good match. I like when Balor stole that running kick from Riddle. That was good. Then we get a Dominik Mysterio promo, and he was basically talking about how he's become his own person, that Edge got exactly what he deserved, and that he was gonna finish what he started. I really like the fact that just like his dad and Eddie Guerrero, he uses the Spanglish. And you can see Rhea whispering something into his ear. And basically Dominik says he's a man and not a baby boy anymore. Now, I don't know how many of you guys are in customer service, but I was in customer service. And one of the things that they always taught us in customer service was it's not what you say, it's how you say it that counts. And while what he was saying was good, it was his way of delivering it that was not good. He basically sounded like he was just having a conversation with someone. I didn't feel the passion in this promo. I didn't feel the anger in this promo. He was just talking. Kind of like how I'm right now. I'm just talking. So I think Dominik kind of needs to work on that. He needs to improve his promo cutting skills, because while the promo itself was not bad, it's his delivery of the promo that just felt kind of flat. Like, you can probably give this promo to anybody else and they would deliver it the way it's supposed to be delivered. But what did you guys think of Dominik's promo? Then we get a Johnny Wrestling package, and it cuts to Austin Theory saying that he knows who Gargano's opponent for tonight is, and it's none other than Chad Gable. That promo was awful. See? It's not what you say, it's how you say it that counts. So I was actually really looking forward to Chad Gable versus Johnny Wrestling. Like, I knew that was going to be a banger of a match. I'll talk about it when I get there. We had the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship matches, Damage Control in the form of Io Sky and Dakota Kai versus Aliyah and Raquel Rodriguez. So this was a rematch of the finals of the tag team tournament. I really like the fact that Damage Control did a good job at isolating Aliyah from Raquel, and I also like that Bayley put Dakota Kai's foot on the rope. And so Damage Control ended up winning. In my opinion, they should have originally won, but now I feel like I'm torn because it's like, on one hand, like, Nair just literally Aliyah and Raquel won the titles like 2 weeks ago, and this is their first title defense, and they lose. How are you supposed to like establish the titles in the division? I mean, I guess you could do that with Io Sky and Dakota Kai, but as long as they have a lengthy reign where they're defending the titles and they're not just props, I think that would be a step in the right direction. But I'm glad they put the titles on the right woman. Aliyah is just terrible, and Raquel should be on a Colgate poster for her smiling so much. That's true. But like I said, I wasn't feeling. I mean, I get it. You need to establish those tag titles, and the fact that they lost in their first title defense, it doesn't kind of sit well with me. But I think that now that the belts are on Io Sky and Dakota Kai, I feel like we're gonna be in for a lengthy title run. So, cuts to the back, and you get Rey and Dominic Mysterio. And Rey approaches him saying that he heard what Dominic said earlier and that he would go back and change everything if he could. By the way, my Megazord is still out of commission. And he wants to he wants Dominic to give him a chance to be a family again. And he tells Dominic he's never seen this side of Edge before, but when Edge is backed up into a corner, he isn't going to hold back. And if Dominic fights Edge tonight, things will never go back to the way they were. And Rhea shows up and says Papi knows best. Now we need Bayley to defeat Bianca. And that's exactly what I think is going to happen. I'll talk more about that as we get to Bianca's match. So then we get Johnny Gargano versus Chad Gable. This match was freaking incredible. I actually like this match. I mean, you had Chad Gable, who's basically a modern day Kurt Angle, versus Johnny Gargano. In Portland, of all places, the crowd was super behind Johnny Gargano. They were chanting Johnny Wrestling. Johnny Wrestling. I mean, could you just imagine like Vince McMahon watching Monday Night Raw at home, watching this match? He's probably having a heart attack because if this was still Vince's WWE, Johnny Gargano would have lost. And he would not know why people are chanting for him. But this was a great match. And I'm glad it was against Chad Gable. I'm pretty sure a lot of people would have preferred it to be Tommaso Ciampa. But I'm sure we will get to that eventually. But dang, I don't know what more to say. This was freaking incredible. And like the crossbody clothesline combo was cool. The flying hurricanrana to the arm drag was also cool to Chad Gable. And like at the end of the match, you had 2 super kicks to Otis. Good. That was good. But then let me see. It was an awesome match. I would have loved to see Ciampa versus Gargano. But out of all the guys, Chad Gable, mute the TV. Thank you. Hey, it was still a good match. And so as Johnny Gargano's leaving, Austin Theory attacks him. And so this leads to Austin Theory cutting a promo in which he's talking about, like, did Johnny Wrestling disappoint us? And someone needs to show him. He's talking about how Johnny Gargano is basically an overrated bottom-feeding fish at the bottom of the food chain. And then he gets interrupted by KO. KO cutting a passionate promo. Holy smokes. Like, this promo, like, just goes to show why KO's long overdue for a title run. He starts talking about how him and Johnny Gargano don't look like Austin Theory. And Austin Theory says that he's sick and tired of his moments being ruined by KO, Johnny Gargano, Tyson Fury, and he's the youngest Mr. Money in the Bank to take over the industry. Kevin Owens reminds Austin Theory that he was saying this last week, but he was having an issue with his jaw. And he says that Theory thinks he's the future because of his age and looks, but that's not how it works anymore. And that guys like him and Johnny don't look like Theory. And so it's interesting that you have like Austin Theory versus and KO. Austin Theory being that handpicked next chosen guy by Vince McMahon, and you have Kevin Owens who was the complete opposite of that. He was not a Vince McMahon guy. He was not handpicked by Vince McMahon. So you have two opposites here, and I actually really like that. I have to say, Owen Sunday, like he was getting out all the frustrations of how he has been treated for years on the main roster. Thanks to Vince. Yeah, it did sound like that. Like you felt that passion in this. Like I don't think this was Kevin Owens. I think this was Kevin Steen talking. Honestly. And Theory fires back and says that the only reason KO and Johnny Gargano were jealous is because he's done more in the past 5 months than they've done in the past 5 years. And KO reminds him that when he talks like that, it makes him sound like a delusional jackass. And he says that everything that Theory has done is because everything was handed to him. But he can't blame Theory for that because the Universal title was handed to him on a silver platter. That's where they have everything in common, but now they're their complete opposites, and KO couldn't be more proud of that. So I actually, like I said, really, really like that he said that, because Kevin Owens was right. Everything that Austin Theory has up to now was handed to him. He was handed that United States title shot. He was handed that Money in the Bank briefcase. He was handed all these opportunities simply for being Vince McMahon's handpicked guy. And he goes on to question that, Theory's young, full potential, and he asks how many guys have fizzled out and went nowhere, hundreds of them. He goes on to say people like Austin Theory are a dime of dozens, but people like him and Gargano are 1 in a million. So this was kind of like, again, talking about all the guys that Vince probably, maybe saw some potential in versus the indie guys in the indies that Triple H bought in. So I like that he says, people like me and Johnny Gargano are the heart and soul of this business. People like you are the appendix of this business, completely disposable. Prove me wrong. Stop thinking about the moments that were handed to you and make your own moments. I love that because KO is right. Like I said, everything Austin Theory has was handed to him. And he needs to make his own moments, get something on his own. And KO goes on to say he doesn't think Theory carries himself and he tells him to check his ego at the door and look himself in the mirror. And that's how you become the future and the face of the WWE. And Theory tells him that KO will never be like him. And then they get into it. And I think Theory ended up with a broken nose because he was bleeding and his face was all busted open. But this was a fantastic promo by Kevin Owens. I really like this whole prize fighter gimmick and Triple H allowing basically KO to be himself, and very fantastic. And I think what Michael said here was correct. He was basically getting his frustrations out of how Vince McMahon treated him on the main roster. Like KO should have been champ by now, but he was on a Universal title once and he was never champion again. So really, really awesome promo. Probably my favorite promo of the whole night. Then we get Bianca Belair's open challenge, and it ends up being against Sonya Deville. This is a match we've seen before, when Sonya was running things with Adam Pearce. And it was all right. I mean, it was an okay match. Nothing special about it. Of course, Bianca Belair won. I mean, she wasn't going to lose. But Bayley interrupts, comes out after Bianca wins. Very boring. Very boring this was. Oh, so Master Yoda comes out now? And she asked Bianca if she felt inspired by Damage Control's win earlier tonight. And asked Bianca how she feels about her victory and that she has a big fat ego. So if you guys recall, Bianca did challenge Bayley to a fight, to a match, I should say. And Bayley hasn't accepted. So that's why she says that she knows Bianca isn't going to be able to sleep at night until she gets a match against Bayley. And she did something, she hasn't wrestled in a year, but she did something that no one has been able to do in over 300 days, and that was pin Bianca. She certainly did. She pinned her, got the win for her team. And that she and Bianca will have their match when the time is right. All right, so Master Yoda said he wanted to get that out. It's funny. So with that being said, that tells me that I think Bayley's definitely taking that title off of Bianca Belair. It might happen at Extreme Rules. I don't know. I have no idea when they plan on having that match, but I think Bayley is taking that title off of Bianca. And then Damage Control is going to hold all the gold. And then they're going to really be... I don't think they'll run through the women's division, but I think they're going to be extremely dominant. And that is how you establish a great division. And do I really have to talk about this next match? I mean, you have Omos versus two jobbers whose names I didn't catch. This was basically a squash match. What is there more to say? Seriously, what? They're freaking jobbers. And Bayley's taking that title off of Bianca. Yeah, she is. I don't know. I guess they're trying to reestablish Omos. I mentioned this last week, but now that Braun Strowman is back, I know Braun Strowman is on SmackDown, but I mean, what's going to happen to Omos now that Braun Strowman is back? He's no Braun Strowman. What are they going to do? Braun Strowman versus Omos? Winner gets to be the giant of WWE? I don't know. I mean, I didn't care about this. This squash match, arguably weakest match of the entire night. Technical difficulties happened for a good reason. Even USA Network didn't want Omos on TV. That is true. I don't know if anybody caught it, but like USA Network was having technical difficulties and almost broke the channel. But I didn't care for it. It was a squash match through and through. There's nothing more to say. So Braun versus Omos versus Veer. Speaking of Veer, where the hell is Veer? I mean, he came to Raw after a 6-month journey to Raw. That poor guy, and he's nowhere to be seen. Nowhere to be seen. I don't know. I mean, he was, I guess, like a Vince McMahon project. So I don't know. I don't know what that means for Veer, but he hasn't been seen in a while. Actually, you know what? I take Veer over Omos because Veer can talk and he can actually wrestle. Omos, I take Veer over Omos. Watch, when we get to Survivor Series, Braun and Omos will be the team captain for their brands. Watch, they do that. Are we going to have to put Veer's picture back on the credits again to find him? Probably. To go back to your question, to go back to this, I honestly hope we don't have Raw versus SmackDown this year. I mean, I remember when Survivor Series was not just brand warfare. Anybody remember that? Like, one of my favorite 5-on-5 matches was Team DX versus Team Reddit RKO. That was a fun match. Why can't we get that again? You know, WWE missed an opportunity to do Team Adam Pearce versus Team Sonya Deville. Winner takes control of Raw and SmackDown. I mean, yeah, you could argue and say it was like Team Bischoff versus Team Austin. But hey, we need to move away from Raw versus SmackDown. WWE has given up on Veer. Yeah, probably. So we get a Seth Rollins promo. And Rollins says he is the face of Raw. And Lashley approaches him and says he isn't the face of Raw because he doesn't have the gold. And Seth Rollins says that he wasn't referring to Bobby Lashley's U.S. title, but he would gladly take it from him. We need We need War Games as Survivor Series. I do agree we do need War Games. It just won't be the same without William Regal announcing War Games. So, Seth Rollins versus Bobby Lashley for the U.S. title. I think this would be a good match. Do I think Seth Rollins is taking a title off of Bobby Lashley? No, I don't think so. I think that Matt Riddle will probably somehow cost Rollins this match. And it's probably going to lead to the rematch. We get a Miz interview. And he's like being interviewed from his house. He says that this is the only way you're going to get the Miz on Raw. And Marie shows up saying that they have a huge premiere to get to. And Miz doesn't feel safe. He starts talking about how there was a police escort at the arena. Now, if you look closely, you can kind of see like Dexter Lumis on the outside. Miz can't see him, but. So they basically, after Miz leaves, like you can see Dexter Lumis inside the house drawing a picture of Miz and Maurice. And he just like holds it up. Again, I don't know where they're going with this storyline or what the end result is supposed to be, but I'm intrigued. I remember that when Survivor Series was the ultimate in team competition, Survivor Series 1989 through 1991 are so classic and epic. Who can forget the gobbledygooker? Who can forget the debut of The Undertaker? So in the main event was Edge versus Dominic Mysterio, and I have to say, like, Dominic came out in new attire. Well, actually not new attire, but in attire that's like black and purple. He came out with Rhea. So I kind of get this whole, it's going to be Miz versus Dexter Lumis soon, probably. I'm getting a whole Latino China vibe here. Like when Eddie Guerrero was Latino and was doing the whole mamacita gimmick. I think that's what they're trying to recreate here. But not like in a comedy aspect. So I have to say, like, Edge was just throwing Dominic around, kicking his ass. Like, he was just throwing Dom around like a rag doll. I like the fact that Dominic and every Latino wrestler does this. They do the three amigos to Edge, and he attempts a frog splash, but Edge stops him. At least the first time. Edge is just carrying Dominic through with the whole match. Glad it ended in a DQ because even they know makes sense. Yeah, and Hulk Hogan versus 19 Degree Short Undertaker won his first. Oh, wow, cool. So eventually Dominic does a frog splash to Edge. So like I said, every Latino wrestler pretty much always does the three amigos and does the whole thing and then the frog splash. So Rey tries to stop Edge from finishing off Dominic. But this allows for Priest to attack Rey and for Finn Balor to attack Edge. Now, Dominic made his poppy proud with that three amigos. Oh, that is hilarious. With that mullet? Yeah, probably. Now, did anybody catch Finn Balor wearing a bandana? I mean, homeboy looked like he was part of a gang. He looked gangster with a bandana on, and I don't know what he was thinking with that bandana. But he took it off. But did anybody catch that? So Rhea hits Edge's like with the steel chair, and then she encourages Dominic to hit Edge with the steel chair. And now commentary, I don't know if you guys caught this. They made note of something. They said, "Who can stop Judgment Day?" So up to this point, nobody stopped Judgment Day, and there aren't any guy-girl factions. So I don't watch NXT, but I was heard that Santos Escobar lost a loser leaves NXT match, I believe. I was like, who was that with the bandana at first? Then it was Balor. Yeah. So I think it's going to be Lago de Fantasma gets called up to the roster. And I think they're going to be set up in the feud with Judgment Day. I don't know how much longer this whole Edge, Rey, Dominic feud is going to go on for, but it makes sense. They have 3 guys and a girl versus 3 guys and a girl. So I think that's what the plan here is. At least I think that's what it is. I could be totally wrong, and they could just be doing something else. But what do you guys think? Who do you guys think can stop Judgment Day? That's the only faction I can think of. But let me know in the comments. All right. Dom needs to bring back the classic Chavo Guerrero shit. This is Eddie Guerrero is my favorite wrestler. That's funny. All right, well, with that being said, you guys, I forgot to rank Raw. So this Raw was actually pretty decent. It wasn't bad at all. The one thing that I did not like was that almost match. You take that almost match out, and this is a perfect 10. It would be a Ty Dillinger perfect 10 or Princeton 10 Vance 10. Yeah, Santos lost that match to Tony D'Angelo. Lego de Fantasma's main roster bound. Definitely. The question is when. So, like I said, take out that almost match. Perfect episode. I felt 7 out of 10 Mysterio gives it a 6. I feel like the Edge Dominik match was a little weak to say. You could tell Edge was just carrying Dominik. But it wasn't that bad. Aside from that, there's not that many complaints about Raw. So I'd have to give this. I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. I think it's an 8 out of 10. Decent episode. You take those two things out, it would have been a fantastic episode all around. But no. Oh, no, actually, the open challenge, Sonya Deville versus Bianca Belair, I also didn't care for that. So I'll knock it down a peg. 7.5 out of 10. And take out those three things. Fantastic episode. But I feel like those three things brought the quality of this episode down. And it would be interesting to see what the ratings for Raw are compared, because I know tonight was football. I don't know if anybody watches football here, but it'd be interesting to see how they fared against football. But with that being said, you guys, thank you guys all so much for watching and for your continuous support. Thank you guys. I'm officially at 502 subscribers, and I'm so happy. Thank you guys. Thank you everybody for the continuous support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified whenever I go live or release a new video. And I'll see you guys on Wednesday after AEW Dynamite. Bye.